single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day.
It looks like a spaceship.
What is that?
I have no idea. I almost want to go that way.
Let's.
Oh. Or maybe it's over there. Oh, there. Wait. No. Yeah, that's weird. I'm gonna keep going straight this way and see.
Okay. Hi, it's tomorrow again. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed. I want to do a little bit of a follow-up video on my last video. If you remember, you guys, I was driving down the street with my daughter and we spotted lights in the sky. There was approximately 5 separate lights, but you could tell it was attached to something else, and you could even see around the lights, which is hard to see in the picture, but around the lights you could see distinct metal, sort of round shaped metal. I have been so uneasy since I saw that. And I have begun to have some sort of flashbacks, and I wanted to share that with you guys. It's hard to explain to someone who has never experienced what I experienced as far as seeing or having some sort of contact with an alien spacecraft, or even with an alien. I just felt out of sorts, to the point where your comments literally began to feel like such a huge support, which positive comments feel that way anyway, but just an extra sense of love, an extra sense of feeling understood and protected. And I wanted to thank you guys just from the bottom of my heart for your support. It may seem like, sometimes it may seem like a person is doing okay, like they don't really need support or any extra support, but I definitely needed that day, and I probably still do. It's a feeling, and the best way I can describe it, it feels like you've been invaded, like someone has, maybe came into your house, while you were gone, and they took something. It's just that icky feeling is the best that I can describe it. And not really having anyone to talk to about it. My daughter experienced it along with me, but she has since explained that she's not really sure how to feel about it. So I don't think she really wants to talk about it. But I know what I saw, I know what I experienced, and I know how I felt afterwards and how I still feel. It is once again, it is a very icky feeling, like you've touched something that's dirty. And I'm not saying that aliens are that way. I'm just saying, trying to get you guys to understand how I feel, how I'm processing the experience. Well, I laid down and I purposely sort of put my mind in a sort of dream state. And just for clarity in this video, let's just say I dreamed this. I learned that through flashbacks, I learned that I have had previous experiences with this type of thing, and it's really hard to talk about. I can talk about ghosts, I can talk about all sorts of conspiracies. I can talk about astrology. I can give people personal readings. I can predict the future, sometimes with pretty good accuracy. I've taken my mind to many, many, many places, but this has me shook. So I don't like to stay shook. I don't like to stay in that feeling. So I decided to confront it. And when I confronted it in my mind's eye, I began to remember that there were several occasions, at least 2 occasions, that I had been visited. And the first that I remember, I was probably about 5 years old. And my grandmother and my aunt were in the kitchen, and they were picking greens. And for you guys who may not understand that term, they were actually in the kitchen and they were picking the greens. They were, doing that, and they were washing the greens. And I can still remember the smell of the greens. And I don't know what kind of greens, turnip greens, collard greens, but I can still remember that smell. And I had, as I usually do, I had got to talking too much, and so my grandmother sent me to my room. And I can remember going up the stairs quite loudly, and my grandmother asked me to come back down the stairs, and she, popped me on my butt and told me, now try it again. So I went back up the stairs. This time it was a lot softer steps. And as I got to the top of the stairs, I can still remember that it was dark up there. Not as a nighttime, but there were no lights on. It was daytime, but there were no lights on upstairs. So I took the corner, turned to the right, and I went in my room. And I just stood there like this because I was mad. I didn't want to go up there. I wanted whatever I had wanted before. I don't remember what that was now, but I stood there like this and I was mad. And there was a window to my left. No, I'm sorry. I was standing facing the window, and the window was to my right, but in front of me. I heard a sound like a hand hitting against the screen, or I'm sorry, the window, and I didn't know if it was coming through the window, but my memory is that it hit the window. It was a hand. There were maybe 3 or 4 fingers. There were not 5. The hand was very slender. It was very transparent. And was long. And I took off like a late freight out of that room and back down the stairs, and I screamed and told my grandmother I had seen a hand in the window. My grandmother thought I had seen what they call a haint, meaning a ghost. And she instantly believed me. I was so relieved. I can't tell you how relieved I was that she believed me. So she took me by the hand and she proceeded to go right back upstairs, dragging me along with her. And she says, "Show me where you saw this." And I said, "It was in that window right there." And she said, "Maybe it was a leaf." I said, "No, it definitely wasn't a leaf, because it was loud and it was solid. It was firm." And I didn't use those terms, but I tried to explain to her by using an example of a back scratcher that we had gotten from the state fair. It was as long as a back scratcher. It had tiny fingers, but they weren't curled. They were flat like this and hit the window. Needless to say, she believed me. And over the years, I never forgot that. I didn't exactly know what it was, but now, during a flashback, I get it. I know what it was. It's very clear to me. Another time, and I explained this in one of my past videos, that I had been walking through what I thought was either a laundromat or a basement. It's been so long, I really don't remember that well, but I remember there was a small what I thought was a lady, and she was on the other side of the clothes that were hanging up. And now that I think about it, it had to have been a basement, because why would clothes have been hanging up in a laundromat? Well, she was on the other side of the clothes, and she was making a gesture, showing me her hand, showing me her arm. And other than that, there was no conversations. There was nothing other than I got a feeling that she was telling me not to tell anyone. So those are two experiences that I had in my past, and I now believe it was some sort of extraterrestrial. And even saying that, I sound, you know, I feel absolutely lost saying that, but it's very clear to me now. And so I want to put my glasses on. So I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, but I did get some messages in my dream. One of the messages was that a certain type of UFO or alien, they are able to, you know how we can send out a text to different people, we can just, you know, check off different people's names and they all sort of get the same memo, or we can talk to maybe 2 or 3 people, FaceTime 2 or 3 people at once. Well, they have the ability to transcend messages to millions of people at once. And it's not in writing left to right, it's in one symbol. And each person is given a code. And in my dream, I was given a code. And I'm not going to say it on here, but it had about 7 designs in the code. There was 7 things. 7 things in the code. That's the best that I can share with you guys. And these messages are given. There are tons of people that live on the face of this earth that experienced what I experienced the other night. There are tons of people that were actually spoken to when I went into the dream state. And these mass messages were sent out to people. And one of the messages that was given to me and the rest of the people in my dream was that the weather is going to be crazy. And part of the reason for that is because every time these particular types of aliens come close to Earth, come within a certain amount of feet, it changes the atmosphere here. And I think someone in the comment section of my last video had said that. And when I read that comment, I scratched my head and it didn't make a lot of sense to me until I had that dream. And it's very true because they showed me this. Another thing that was shown, and that mass message thing that they do, that's big. That's really big. But just when I'm telling you guys about it, it doesn't sound so big to me. But when I was dreaming it, it was very big. It was big news. It was a big thing. Also, there will be, and this is exciting news, there will be a cure or a very, very brilliant working treatment for people who are suffering from cancer. This is exciting. I cannot show you guys some sort of stamp of approval or receipts of what I dreamed, but I know it's the truth. I know it was real. It showed me through like a mass text. I'm even laughing, chuckling at the thought of this, but this is what I dreamed. And it showed that there will be a cure or a treatment. Cancer will be a thing of the past. And I'm verbalizing this to you, communicating this to you guys this way. There will be either a treatment or a cure. It will be a thing of the past. The devastation of cancer. Sorry about that. I don't know, my camera decided to stop working, and now it's back. So those are some of the things that I was told. It was communicated to me sort of telepathically. It was a combination of telepathic communication and there was a stamp, like this image, this design said it all. It was all in one design. It said everything that needed to be communicated. It was all said in this design. And once again, you guys have to really please forgive my jumbled speaking, but this has really affected me. I never was one to really be that interested in aliens or life on another planet. I always just assumed that there was life, but I never really gave it much thought. And purposely, I didn't, before I laid down and did this forced dream, I didn't do any research on UFOs. I didn't do any research on aliens because I didn't want to make my thinking one-sided. Now, since I had the dream, I did begin to look into just a few things about UFOs, and I plan on doing a little bit more studying. Maybe we can share information in the future. So this is what I dreamed. I dreamed that this particular breed of aliens, this particular type of aliens, and they're very, very willowy built, like there's no real muscle mass on these particular aliens. There's no really strong body structure. And another message that was communicated to me and lots of other people was that every entity on Earth has some value in communication if we know how to listen. From you know, a little red ant all the way in size to a hippopotamus, elephant. Every living thing communicates, and the aliens are not necessarily the goal of communication. They're not that hierarchy. Just a part of this whole thing. I hope I didn't confuse you guys. So that's the message that I needed to give you guys. So I'm feeling like, because of the things that they showed me in my dream, that there could be some very strange weather happenings, very strange weather patterns, you know, coming up soon. You know, whereas in the wintertime, you usually don't hear about certain weather conditions, and in the summertime, you don't usually hear about certain weather conditions. There's going to be some strange weather conditions coming up. So I wanted to leave you guys with this message. I believe, you know, being a cancer survivor myself, I do believe that message. I think, I know, I believe that hope is on the horizon for anyone suffering from any debilitating or life-threatening condition or illness. I think a lot of our outcomes in between birth and death, there's life. And I think a lot of our outcomes in that in between depend on this, how we view ourselves, how we view our loved ones, and how we view the world. Stay positive. Know that everything that you need to survive, you already have that with you. And another thing to keep in mind, there are people on this earth who they are not able to navigate their lives the way we can. There are people who depend on other people to help them to get food, to help them to have shelter, clothing, everything that life's necessities. Every necessity that life, that's a part of life. There are people who need us. It is our responsibility to not ignore them, to not pretend that they don't exist. Find a way to help someone that needs you. If you ever feel like you're not wanted, if you ever feel lonely, I think that's a trigger to tell you there's someone out here on this earth, in this world, who literally needs you. They need someone just like you. And the answer is to literally make it happen. Find a way to help someone that cannot help themselves. There is so much to do to make this world just more pleasant. So start there, you guys. Start with helping one another, extending yourself. You know, make a list of all the people or possible scenarios that might do better if you help them. So that's my message to you guys. I'm sending love and light to each and every one of you. Please accept that and send it back to me. I could use all the love that you guys can send through this video. This is Tomorrow again. Please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to double tap that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. And I'm going to try to be consistent in giving you guys interesting content, and in a couple of weeks I'm going to, or maybe sooner, I'm not sure exactly when, but it'll be before December 31st, I'm going to give you some predictions for 2019. Some might come true and some may not. Let's view that for entertainment purposes. Let's see how accurate that I can be at predicting the future. This is an abstract prediction. It's not like when you're talking to someone one-on-one in person, you're giving them a reading, or you're talking to someone, giving them a telephone reading. Those are more exact energies and very easy for a psychic to do. But when you're reaching out to an abstract, you know, something that's going to happen in the world, or you may be getting energy from somewhere and you're trying to figure out what that energy is and then therefore form a prediction. That's a whole nother thing. And the accuracy is not as good as if you were directly talking to someone, giving them a reading. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, you guys, once again, I'm sending you love and light. I'm wishing you guys the best of the best. Thank you.